Breaking news just coming in. The Pakistani army, during its cleanup operations in the Peshawar Army School, has found IEDs, explosive devices, planted around the entire campus. This is slowing down the progress of the security forces in their operations. That's the latest that is coming in, and I want to immediately cut across to my colleague Hamza Amir, who's breaking this news on the network. Hamza, can you get us up to speed with the latest development, please?
Well, right now, as the military operation continues and they try to rescue the people who are inside, the young children and students, they've been standing inside for hours now. The only problem that they have is the hindrances that are there. They are not sure if those people who are armed, how heavily are they armed. They have actually burned the teacher. That means they've got even petrol with them. They're heavily armed. They've got IED explosives. One of the bomber actually killed himself also. They actually got suicide bombers, bomb tactics also. So all of these are a major concern for the security forces, but they still continue to try and penetrate as deeper into as possible. Right now, as we understand, there are 2 blocks of that school that are still under custody and under basically control of the terrorists, while the army has been trying to reach into those areas as quickly as possible. The death toll currently stands at 132 as per the hospital authorities, while all the hospitals and even the private practicing doctors have been called into the Lady Reading Hospital for immediate medical assistance. Blood donation calls have been given out throughout Peshawar and other surrounding areas for people to come and donate blood, but there's massive shortage of blood. 245 people are injured. The number are consistently increasing because we're not sure how many people are dead inside. While out of these 132 dead, there are only 3 teachers who are dead. All of the dead are basically students ranging between the age of between 15 to 18 years old, which is a very young number. And the family members of the killed are in the hospital. They're protesting. They're screaming out for their loved ones. They're worried the whole day, since morning till the evening, that the operation has been going on. Army has said 80% of the operation is successful, and they're continuing to penetrate into as much as possible.
Appreciate you joining us, Hamza. We'll quickly come back to you for further updates on that story. Meanwhile, to get our viewers up to speed with the latest developments, number 1, 6 terrorists have been killed right now. The army now doing the cleansing operation, sanitizing the area which is being hindered by IEDs which the terrorists have planted across the campus. The casualty, the number, I'm afraid, has risen to 132 and is going to rise further, as reported by my colleague Hamza, as these are just the figures that have been released by hospitals. There are many bodies, as well as other students who are still inside the school premises. We'll keep our viewers updated on that. Meanwhile, the hostage crisis in Peshawar Army Public School could now be over soon, is what is being reported. At least 132 have been killed in the Taliban attack on the Peshawar school, with most of them tragically children. As many as 110 of those killed are children. A similar number of children are injured, many of them with bullet wounds. And according to doctors, most have been shot in the head and chest. Many of the dead were celebrating an event in the school. Also dead is a teacher reportedly set on fire by militants. More blasts have been reported from the school site in the past hour, with ambulances seen rushing into the compound. According to a Pakistan Army public relations statement, of the 4 blocks that the militants were confined to, security forces have managed to clear 3, indicating the operation could now be reaching. I want to cut across at this point of time to Mr. Sushant Serene, Pakistan affairs expert and senior fellow, Vivekananda International Foundation. Mr. Serene, you know, to quote an old cliche, how does Pakistan battle the terrorism within when terrorism has always been an element of state policy?
That's exactly going to be the problem. You know, this is a terrible tragedy. I don't think there's any other way of looking at it. It's a horrific tragedy which has happened. But it's a tragedy which the Pakistanis have called upon themselves. When you were killing kids of Indian Army officers in Kashmir in the name of jihad and in the name of getting independence for Kashmir, that time the Pakistanis used to celebrate. When Ilyas Kashmiri type of terrorists beheaded Indian soldiers and carried their heads, and Musharraf, the commando and the cowardly commando would laud Ilyas Kashmiri, the terrorist, everybody would, you know, start clapping out there. When you have these kind of double standards, that a Hafiz Saeed, who is responsible for the killing of thousands of Indians, including the 168 odd people who died in Mumbai. He's treated like Mother Teresa. Then you will have these kind of incidents. So Pakistan needs to, there have been a lot of wake-up calls in Pakistan. Pakistan needs to get real, that you can't be sponsoring terrorists in Afghanistan and in India and then think that you are going to be secure. This is really the nub of the problem. You can't want to foster a Mullah Umar whom you have been giving sanctuary for the last 12 years in your country and then crib about a Mullah Fazlullah who's taking refuge in an area of Afghanistan which, because of your actions in Afghanistan, the Afghanistan government does not control fully. So Pakistan needs to wake up, smell the coffee and understand what's happening. I'm afraid they are not going to do it because they've gone so far down this jihadist path and they are so messed up in their heads, so much so that their enmity for India rules their minds so much that whatever depredations the Taliban might do don't seem to move them, and that is the real disconnect in Pakistan. If about a couple of years back there was a attack in a mosque in Rawalpindi where kids of generals, their parents, small kids, grandkids got killed. If at that point of time the Pakistanis continued to sponsor the Taliban, continued to support them, continued to pander to them, if that didn't serve as a wake-up call 5 years back, I don't know how much of a wake-up call this one is going to serve.
You know, taking off from what you said, Mr. Sareen, you know, the chief of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, Imran Khan, we just heard him, said very clearly that this is a dastardly act, but it is his party who has hold over this area. In the last year or two, we've seen him being fairly protective, if not protective, at least mellow, where this terrorist outfit is concerned.
Look, Imran Khan, of course, is a completely messed up guy. You know, he's called Im the Dim by some people in Pakistan. So I don't even want to talk about Imran Khan, although he's a very popular leader. But why only blame him? Let's talk about Nawaz Sharif. He has been saying that the Taliban are, you know, they're just misguided people. You know, misguided people don't go about beheading your soldiers. They don't go about blowing up bombs in markets. Misguided people don't do that. They might take to drugs or they might take to something else, but they don't do this kind of stuff. His brother says that Taliban should not carry out terrorist attacks in Punjab because the Punjab government and the Taliban are on the same page ideologically. Their interior minister says that, you know, the Taliban are not anti-state people, they're not anti-Pakistan people. So, you know, when you have this kind of a standard, you have a former ISI chief say that Baitullah Masood, who was at one point of time enemy number one, is a patriotic Pakistan. Then how do you fight these guys? On what basis do you fight these guys? That is going to be the real problem. You can't be sponsoring one set of animals in your country and expect that they're not going to bite you because they fight against, you know, the evil Hindu or the evil Afghan or the evil American. Right. You can't want to have the Taliban regime in Afghanistan on the basis that they are fighting against foreign occupation and fight them inside Pakistan, even though you know that they are part of the same amalgam. It's precisely these kind of double standards, this kind of, you know, double speak on the issue of terrorism, which has created this kind of an enormous tragedy. My heart, it's a heart-rending tragedy. One's heart goes out to the people who have suffered this. But, you know, frankly, I have no sympathy for the Pakistani army or the Pakistani establishment, which has actually sponsored these guys.
Appreciate you joining us, Mr. Sushant Sareen. We'll of course keep coming back to you for further perspective on the developments right now which are taking place in Peshawar. The latest that we are getting in is that it seems that it is the last of the combing operation which is on as we speak. Trust headlines today to keep you one up with all developments there. Thank you, Mr. Sareen, for joining us with that.